My faculty member from the School of Life Sciences at ASU is Dr. Michael Angeletta. Dr. Angeletta studied at the College of New Jersey, where he obtained a bachelor's in science. He then went on to earn his PhD at UPenn. After, he began as an associate professor at Indiana State and later took the same job at ASU, where he is now currently a professor. Dr. Angeletta has earned many honors and awards, such as the Marsh Book of the Year Award, and has guest spoken at different universities. The behavior and impacts of the global climate are among Dr. Angeletta's main focuses in his research. In addition, he works on a multidisciplinary project on the human behavior with colleagues in different specializations. This work even led him to develop a course on the topic. A journal article Dr. Angeletta co-wrote titled Fundamental Flaws with the Fundamental Niche can be found in the Journal of Integrative and Comparative Biology. This journal explores the failures of a theory created by a 1950s ecologist called the fundamental niche, which provides a vague outline for the factors that affect the role of a species within its ecosystem, or niche. Dr. Angeletta and his team essentially sought out to discredit this theory, as they believed it would not work in the real world for a number of reasons. The 1950s ecologist G. Evelyn Hutchinson attempted to redefine the niche by representing it with something he called the n-dimensional hypervolume, which is something in biospace. This included environmental factors required for reproduction of that organism. However, he failed to consider many other environmental factors that the scientists believed should have been considered to calculate the niche. So essentially, as a non-scientific way of explaining it, he was trying to do a calculation without including enough variables. Due to this lack of variables, the authors of the journal article hypothesized that the fundamental niche would not work in practice, although it could look good on paper. And they predicted that some of the abiotic stresses that Hutchinson had failed to consider included frequency, duration, and the spatial structure of these abiotic stresses, because Hutchinson really only considered the magnitude. The authors pulled parts of Hutchinson's theory and rejected them by using outside sources that have been collected since the 50s. Doing so, they are sort of disproving Hutchinson's theory by using more modern science to say, we've learned this actually isn't quite as accurate as previously thought. They also accounted for counter-arguments which further backed up their points. As an example of their point, that magnitude of abiotic stress is not the sole factor of a niche, they illustrated the point that magnitude of a condition can drastically affect a species when time is considered, and utilize insects as an example. Another way to look at this is that the duration of an abiotic stress matters just as much as the magnitude of an abiotic stress, at least in the opinions of the authors. In their words, they highlighted that a condition that enhances growth or development over short periods could cause deaths over long periods. And this can be seen in insects, as they can survive extreme temperatures for a short stint, but they will die if they're exposed over a long time. While Dr. Angeletta and his team did not conduct their own experiments to support this argument, they used data and observations found in previously conducted experiments to back up their point. As seen on the left, a graph illustrating the effect of increasing temperature and the percentage of moisture in an environment on an organism's fitness displays how the results would look if this experiment were conducted in Hutchinson's eyes. While the graph on the right uses the same variable on the x-axis for temperature, but uses the variable of atmospheric oxygen on the y-axis as a more realistic alternative, as these two factors show strong correlation. This graph yields a more realistic hypothetical result compared to Hutchinson's ideology, as supported by the authors. They repeated this process with their other predictions and arguments to solidify their ideas on where Hutchinson's original theory went wrong. In conclusion, Dr. Angeletta and the other authors' findings and arguments supported their original claims that Hutchinson's niche theory would not work in the real world as it seemed to on paper, or essentially just needed to consider more environmental factors by being updated with the more recent findings of modern science. It is important to understand an organism's niche, as it can help determine how parts of an ecosystem will behave together cohesively, and how things we do affect these ecosystems so that we can reduce our footprint as much as possible. And these are my sources. Thank you.